Hello, today I'm going to walk you through the Aerospace Engineering Degree Audit. We'll start by looking at the very top of your degree audit, where you will see your student ID number on the left side, your name. You will see your advisor's name, which should be Dr. Felix Aweri if you are already coded in aerospace, or if you are an EFY student, then you will see Emma Munson as your advisor. On the right-hand side, you'll see a little print icon at the top that may look like this one, or it may just be a link that says print. This is the link that we prefer you use to print your degree audit or save it to a PDF for submission. Also on the right side, you'll see total units, and you can tell that's a hyperlink, and if you click on that, there's actually some useful information. Under total units, you will see the number of credit hours you've completed, including transfer credits and AP credits. You'll see how many credits you have left, how many are enrolled, how many you've planned. You can also see your student standing, whether you're sophomore, junior, senior, and you can see whether you're in good standing as a student. On the right side, you'll also see your cumulative GPA, and once you've started taking major classes, you'll see a major GPA. If this is your first semester at NC State, then these GPAs will be blank. And as soon as you finish your first semester, they'll be populated with your GPA information. There's also an applied for graduation line, and that is for when you apply for graduation at the very end. When you submit an application in MyPack portal, you'll see the semester there that you plan to graduate. Next, we're going to look at your freshman or first year courses in the degree audit. Now, your degree audit may look slightly different from mine. This is an administrative view. Yours is a student view, so it may look different, but the content is the same. Looking up at the top, you can see the notation used here. Green checks for completed courses, either those taken at NC State or transferred or through AP credit. Yellow diamonds for enrolled courses. A red square for incomplete or late grade, so if you ever see one of those, you should pay attention. A blue star for planned courses, those are the ones in your MyPack planner, and then a red X for unmet. So if you've planned well, then the goal is to have no red X's in your degree audit. Everything should either be completed, enrolled, or planned. Now here in this first year, you take primarily the same courses as all of the other engineering students. Two things that I would note: as an aerospace student, you see your programming course here in your second semester freshman, CSE 113. We strongly recommend that you get that course completed before you take your first aerospace courses. That would be MAE 250 and 251, you'll see on the next slide. Those are your first aerospace courses that you take the first semester of your sophomore year. Now, technically, CSE 113 is a co-requisite with those courses, but the instructors have noted that students who have completed a programming course prior to MAE 250 and 251 are more successful in those courses. So it's important that you follow along here the suggestion to take your programming course in your freshman year. Now, if you, for some reason, don't do that, that doesn't mean you cannot move on and take those aerospace courses. You can do the programming course as a co-requisite. It's just not preferred that way. Also, I will point out your E102 course, which if this is your first semester here and you're an EFY, you may be enrolled in this course now. It's usually offered only in the spring, but with this being an unusual year, then the E102 and the E101 course offerings have been flipped between the two semesters. If you're beyond your first year and you did not take E102, you may have a red X there, or you may have it planned for a later semester, like your junior or senior year. Now, E102 is only available to freshmen. So if you've already moved on past the freshman year, you will not be able to go back and take E102. Instead, you're going to take a substitute course. This is covered in the GEP video that's also provided on this website. So if you do have a red X for E102, or if you have it planned for a late semester because you didn't take it in your freshman year, please be sure to watch the GEP video. This is the sophomore year for aerospace engineering. This is where you begin to take your aerospace specific courses. And it is important to note, and I'm going to say this more than once because it's very important, that your aerospace specific courses are offered only once a year. And the aerospace curriculum, like many engineering curriculums, is very prerequisite driven. So it's important that you stay on track in your course planning. So you don't have a lot of flexibility to deviate from this degree audit and how it's set up. There is some flexibility, especially for non-major courses. But if you feel like you want to deviate for any reason, whether it's study abroad, co-op, or just taking a semester off to do an internship, it's important that you work closely with your advisor to set up a long-term plan that does not extend your graduation more than it should. Now, aerospace specific courses are ones like MAE 250 and 251 here. And in your second semester sophomore, MAE 252 and 253. So those courses are all only offered once a year. These courses that are common to both mechanical and aerospace, like MAE 206, MAE 208, MAE 214, those courses have a little bit more flexibility about when you can take them, but because of the prerequisite driven nature of the aerospace, you don't have a lot of wiggle room even on those courses. So again, if you need to deviate from this at all, work closely with your academic advisor. Moving on to the junior year for aerospace. Everything is fairly prescribed in your first semester junior year, but when you get to your second semester junior year, you start to see some guided electives. And you need to pay attention to the options for these guided electives. Now, you're provided with an aerospace curriculum sheet. Also, in your degree audit, you can click the requirement details link. Also, when you set up your planner, then you can see the required courses for each of these categories. But sometimes the aerospace degree audit doesn't quite read the courses right when you plan them. So it's important to note that you have a flight space elective here in your junior second semester. And you'll see another one in your senior year. So you have 2 flight space electives, and there are only 2 choices for that elective. So you choose 457 or MAE 467. And you're essentially going to take both of those courses. You just get to choose which one you take in your junior year and which one you take in your senior year. And you do need one or the other of them before senior design. So this is important that you do not forget to take one of your flight space electives before senior design. Doesn't matter which one, just make sure you've taken one of them. Also important to note is that both of the flight space electives require Dynamics and Controls MAE 361 as a prerequisite. So you cannot delay taking MAE 361, otherwise you will delay your flight space elective, which will in turn delay senior design. Another guided elective here, this is a general one and it's not specifically stated here, but there are other guided elective groups. You have a structures guided elective and you have a propulsion guided elective. This in your junior year is really intended to be your structures guided elective. And for that guided elective, you have 2 options. You have MAE 472 and MAE 430. It doesn't matter which one you take, either one, but the idea is that you take one of them here in your second semester junior. Now, it is not a prerequisite to have one of those courses completed. So if you did want to save that structures elective until your senior year, you technically can do that. But it's better if you get your structures elective done before you start senior design, because the information you will learn there will be helpful for senior design. And for the math elective, you have a short list of courses to choose from. So just click on the requirement details or refer to your aerospace curriculum sheet, and you will see what to take for that. In your senior year as an aerospace student, you have another guided technical elective. That is intended to be your propulsion elective. Now, up until this point, for many years, you've only had one course option for that. That would be MAE 458, which is just propulsion. But we're pleased to say that starting this year, we'll be able to offer rocket propulsion, MAE 459, as an option for the propulsion elective every fall semester. So in future semesters, you can plan either MAE 458 or MAE 459 for your propulsion elective. And that is a fall-only course, so you need to make sure to plan it for the fall semester of your senior year. Now, your senior design courses as an aerospace student are MAE 480 which is the first semester, and MAE 481, which is the second semester. Aerospace senior design is year-long. It starts in a fall and ends in a spring. So you must have your senior year, fall, spring consecutively. You cannot split your senior year. If you plan to participate in any kind of opportunity that would take you out of school for a semester or more, such as co-op or an internship or a study abroad, you need to plan that carefully, especially as an aerospace student, again, working closely with your academic advisor. And you need to make sure that it doesn't spill over into your senior year. Your senior year does have to be a fall and spring consecutively. And again, the prerequisite sequence for MAE 480 is something that you need to pay close attention to. You want to make sure you have all of the prerequisites required for that course completed by the time you start your senior year. As an aerospace student, you also have technical electives. I would call these open technical electives, meaning they're not guided. Now, if you click on the requirement details for your tech electives, you will see a list there. The list is somewhat outdated, however. You'll see some 400 level classes, several 500 levels. 500 level classes are graduate classes, and you are allowed to take those as a senior under certain conditions. And those I talk more about in the technical elective video on this website. So if you're curious about your tech electives and what your options are there, please watch the tech elective videos. One more thing to point out, your ethics elective in your senior year. Now this is something that you can combine with your GEP requirement. So it's not technically a GEP requirement. It is MAE specific, but you can satisfy the ethics elective requirement along with a GEP requirement. And we have a GEP video that will explain that in more depth. And finally, speaking of GEPs, the very last thing you see at the bottom of your degree audit are your GEP categories. And there are several categories that you need to fulfill with different lists of courses for each. We go into that in more detail in the GEP video. A few things I'm going to mention here are verify requirements, which are courses that you can, or requirements that you can satisfy along with another requirement. The ethics requirement was also verified. So again, that's also discussed in the GEP video, but these are not extra courses that you need to take. These are just requirements you need to fulfill. You may notice in your degree audit that you have CRs for your AP credits. So those courses give you credit, but they do not factor into your GPA. You may also have transfer credits. If you were a transfer student, those courses are denoted with a T in front of the grade, such as here, TA. Those courses also calculate into your credit hour totals, but they do not impact your NC State GPA. And if you happen to have any extra courses that do not fulfill any requirements, there'll be a section underneath the degree units here that says non-degree courses. You'll see if you're a transfer student, or especially if you have AP credits, that you may have a few or even a lot of courses in the non-degree section, and this is fine. If you ever have a course that you see under the non-degree section that you expected to satisfy a degree requirement, that should raise a red flag. That means you may have planned something erroneously, or you may need to have a course manually moved to the correct spot. So as soon as you notice something in the non-degree section that you feel should not be there, you should email your advisor right away and get some help. If you have any questions about anything that is not in this video, please email your Aerospace Academic Advisor, Dr. Felix Owere, or if you are EFY with an arrow intent, please email Miss Emma Munson.